No, no, maybe, no, no. How can I turn a dragon into a tank? Well, we're going to talk about reskinning monsters today on Forgotten Realms Explained. Hey everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent, and yes, today on Forgotten Realms Explained, we are actually not going to be talking about the Forgotten Realms at all. We are going to be talking about reskinning monsters. I wanted to make another DM video on kind of like aspects of DMing and stuff, and something that I do pretty frequently, and I think a lot of other DMs do, but we never really talk about how to do it, is reskinning monsters. Like when you can't find that choice monster in the monster manual, but you can alter a current monster into making it fit. A lot of DMs do this on the fly. You don't really have to think it out. You can kind of just say, you know what, this is no longer a fey creature. It's actually an undead creature, and I'm going to keep the exact same statistics, but I'm just going to throw undead instead of fey on there. Doing so, you can create your own monster by just reflavoring or reskinning an existing monster. So today, I'm going to have 3 monsters, and we're going to reskin them. Now, originally on the one-shot that I wrote called Dragon on the Mount, which I did some videos on running my players through that. You can links in the doobly-doo, or there's probably a link in the top right corner of the screen. I reflavored a red dragon as a tank because I wanted these kobolds to be driving this tank around. Your creativity is not limited in any capacity with Dungeons & Dragons. You don't have to play the monster exactly how it's written. So let's reskin some monsters today. Let's make some monsters. Over here, I've got some monsters statistics that I pulled from the monster manual, and I have them written over here. So the first one is this Earth Elemental. You can probably see underneath there, but I want to turn this Earth Elemental into a rope monster. I had this idea of like a rope golem, like a monster made out of ropes that can attack the party in what way. And so thinking about a rope monster, I was like, well, I could use a golem or I could do this. Ultimately, I decided on an Earth Elemental because it just kind of fit what I was doing. So as I'm flipping through, I get an idea for a rope monster and I flip through the monster manual and I come across Earth Elemental and I'm like, you know what? That's going to work great. So for a rope monster, it's the Earth Elemental is a large elemental, but we're going to change this to a large monstrosity. We're going to keep the AC, the hit points, and the speed the same, but we're going to get rid of burrow. And then I have actually kind of it written out over here with what I was going through. So the rope monster is, instead of vulnerabilities to thunder, we're going to give it vulnerability to fire because it's made out of rope. It's resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and we're going to get rid of slashing because it is not resistant to slashing because it is made of ropes from non-magical weapons. Damage immunity, poison, that fits with our Earth Elemental, so that's good. Condition immunities, exhaustion, paralyzed, petrified. It's kind of a construct of a creature. Next, we're going to change Earth Glide to Rope Glide. So the Earth Elemental can burrow through non-magical unworked earth or stone, and while doing so, it doesn't disturb the material it moves through. So it's able to bypass creatures by burrowing under the ground and kind of popping up in other places is how I'm interpreting that as a dungeon master. And so if I want my rope monster to be able to do the same thing, we're going to say that the ropes can break apart and it can kind of like move really quickly without occurring opportunity attacks as it materializes someplace else. Monster can break apart into a clump of ropes and quickly move, we'll say 30 feet. This movement does not incur opportunity attacks. And then finally, Siege Monster, the elemental does double damage to structures. I think that's fine. So we'll say the monster deals double damage to objects and structures. And then multi-attack, it's the monster makes 2 slam attacks. And melee weapon attack plus 8 to hit. Reach, we're going to say 20 feet instead of 10 feet because it's got big ropes that it can kind of fly out at the creature. And one target, and it'll do 2d8 plus 5 bludgeoning damage. So here's our original Earth Elemental on the left. And on the right, we have our rope monster. And you can kind of see how quickly we reflavored this. And yeah, it's that simple. So we've made a rope monster. So if you wanted a monster made out of rope for your campaign, this could be a lot of fun. Maybe a wizard creates a rope golem on a ship full of rope. Yeah, magic. So next is a red dragon wormling into a mechanical dragon. So this is the one that we did this is the one that I did previously from my one-shot that I wrote. Now for my one-shot, I wanted to have this mechanical dragon tank with these kobolds piloting it on the inside. So for this, I just reflavored a red dragon wormling. So first of all, we have red dragon wormling. It's not a dragon anymore. This is going to be a construct. And it's not chaotic evil. Because it is a construct, it is going to be neutral. We're going to keep the AC, the hit points the same. It's going to have 0 climb speed because it's got wheels, so it can't climb. But it can fly. It's going to have wings. It's going to be able to fly up in the air. Not well, but it can fly. We're going to keep all the stats the same, except for charisma. We're going to make 1 because it's a construct. And intelligence, we're going to make 3. Now, I looked up some constructs in the monster manual, and that's where I'm getting that. The charisma and the intelligence were always really, really low. Damage immunities, I also pulled this from constructs. So it's no longer going to be fire, but poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons that aren't adamantine. We're going to remove blind sight and just give it dark vision. Actions. Bite. So it can bite with its fake mechanical dragon mouth. And it does extra fire damage because there's fire in there. And then it can do the fire breath, which the construct exhales fire in a cone of 15 feet. Each creature must save a dexterity saving throw. It takes 76 fire damage. And so we've done it. Except I spelled neutral wrong. Bam. How many of you guys were watching this like he spelled neutral wrong? It was at the very beginning. It's red. It's got a red line underneath it. Why isn't he fixing it? Mechanical dragon. Now, yes, I did go over these beforehand because I chose the monsters I wanted to reflavor and I thought of ideas of reflavoring them. But it's not difficult. So pick a monster you like, go to Kobold Fight Club, pick a monster that's like within the range of threat, and then tweak it however it needs to be tweaked. We're gonna actually make something that I want to use in my campaign. So currently, my players we're actually on hiatus right now because everyone's really busy. So hopefully not this weekend, but next weekend we'll be able to play D&D. And then I can do some more campaign diaries for those of you who are interested in campaign diaries. But currently, my world is set in the desert, or my players are in the desert, I should say. So I had this idea. I wanted like a scorpion king. I wanted a centaur that's a scorpion body, but a human body on top. Kind of like basically like a drider, but I wanted it to be a scorpion. What closely resembles to what I want to do, and the obvious choice to me was drider. So we have a drider over here. I want to make a desert drider, more or less. A desert scorpiman. He is going to be a large monstrosity. He is going to have AC 20, HP 123, speed 30 feet, climb 30 feet. We're going to keep all of those. He doesn't really need to be stealthy. He's not like other drow where drow are stealthy. So I'm going to change this +9 to athletics. Senses, we're going to remove dark vision. He doesn't need dark vision. He's in the desert. And he is going to understand common. Fey ancestry. So right from the get-go, I'm going to search the word drider, and we're going to replace it with Scorpiman. So now we replace drider with Scorpiman. So the Scorpiman has advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put the Scorpiman to sleep. He's not necessarily a Fey, but I like that he has that, so I'm going to keep that. Innate spellcasting. The Scorpionman's innate spellcasting ability is Wisdom. He can cast the following spells at will. Don't care about dancing lights, so we're going to give him another cantrip, Poison Spray, because that seems something that a Scorpion would have. And then one each day he can cast Fear. So we're not going to give him 2 spells to cast, but we're going to give him a kind of a crowd control spell of fear. Now, Spider Climb, Sunlight Sensitivity, and Web Walker. We're going to remove Sunlight Sensitivity because he's out in the desert, and that's fine. We're going to combine Web Walker and Spider Climb into something called Desert Walker. The Scorpiman can ignore non-magical difficult terrain and climb sand dunes without a skill check. So in the desert, he's mobile and he can move around. If there is difficult terrain because of a sand trap, or maybe some extra hot sand, or trying to think of like quicksand or something silly like that, he can maneuver around that because he's just adapted for the desert. And so we've combined all of those things that the Drider had, and we kind of just invented a new one that works for him. So now multi-attack. So the Scorpiman can make 3 attacks, either with its longsword or longbow. It can replace one of these attacks with a bite attack. And I'm going to also say, or poison spray. And instead of bite attack, we're going to change that to stinger. Stinger, melee weapon attack, +6 to hit, reach 5 foot. The stinger's kind of coming down in front, so we're going to keep that at 5 feet. 1d4 piercing damage plus 2d8 poison damage. Longsword, melee weapon attack +6 to hit, reach 5 feet, and 1d8 slashing. Now maybe we want him, instead of a weapon like a longsword, maybe we want him to have pincers. So in that case, we're going to remove longbow and say he has no ranged attacks, and we're going to give him pincers. +6 to hit, reach, and it's going to do on hit. It's going to do 1d10 slashing damage. And we did it. So there is our Desert Scorpiman. We changed it from a Drider, changed the spells, reworked his Web Walker and Spider Climb abilities into Desert Walker, and did some slight changes. So we removed his ranged attacks, so he's just got Stinger and Pincers. The Monster Manual is just math. And you can take that math and rearrange it and put all kinds of flavor over it however you want. Thanks again for watching, everybody. New lore videos every Wednesday, and I will have some more DM videos and or campaign diaries on Fridays. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.